Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time every day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about EDH cards that are worth the money. Now, I've always found that sometimes, you see people with like more expensive EDH cards, and if you're someone who's like, skeptical, like, is that card really worth it? Because don't get me wrong, I've played with expensive Magic cards before and I've been decently underwhelmed, so it happens. So I kind of wanted to do these lists to kind of chat about like cards that I'm like, nah, necessarily you don't need to spend the money on that, or I think this is a good investment to invest in. So we kind of talk about cards, I would say anywhere from like the $4 and up price range, because I know when I was starting out playing Magic, spending $4 on a Magic card was a lot of money. Now, if a Magic card is $4 for the foil, I'm pretty happy about it. So anyways, without further ado, let's just jump into this. This is 10 additional cards. I have no idea what part this is. We've done a lot of these. So the first card is Idyllic. I don't know why, but I cannot say that word, Tutor. And this is a really solid tutor. So this is a 3 mana and you get to tutor for an enchantment and you shuffle your library and put it into your hand. If you are playing, honestly, but even if you're not playing like a ton of different enchantments, I still think that this card is a really great thing to do, because I, think this card would be really great if you have like just a bunch of like, things like Smothering Tithe or like, like stuff like that you're running that you necessarily want to tutor out of your deck. I think this card is a really, really solid inclusion. It's only 3 mana. Definitely a really good card. I like this. Oh, also too, I will just want to say too that when I'm filming this, these are the prices like on average from when I'm filming this, but prices can fluctuate. So just heads up on that. The next card is Enter the Infinite. And it's funny because this is actually a really easy win condition to get out, given it is a lot of mana, so that's like to discount that fact, but this is actually a pretty easy combo because you pretty much just need this and like Laboratory Maniac and you've pretty much won the game. But I feel like a lot of people don't either like know about this card or run this card because it's only ever been printed one time in Gatecrash. This card is about $4 or $5, and like I said, very easy win condition to get. It's, let's see, 12 mana to do. You basically draw cards equal to the number of cards in your library. You put one of those cards back, and then you have no maximum hand size until your next turn. So the whole idea with this is you play this, you Laboratory Maniac, and then you find a way to draw that other card somehow, which, since you've drawn your entire library or you have a hand, you're probably going to have something that lets you draw at least one card and then you get to win, or 2 cards and then you get to win there. So I think Enter the Infinite is a really, really cool card, and I think it's, like I said, a pretty easy combo to get off, especially if you're doing like mono blue, because you run this Lab Maniac and there you go. There's your win condition right there. Okay, this card is got a reprint in, I believe, Double Masters, and Paul actually was like, I absolutely need this card because he built, and you guys haven't seen this deck tech yet, and we will be, I don't know when we're going to get a chance to film it because Paul actually needs to buy the rest of the cards for it because there are some proxies, and I don't really want to have him film a deck tech. I don't really want to do that deck tech when there's proxies. Like, I want it to be like everything is there, and he's tested a bunch and whatever. Anyways, his mono green deck is super cool. You guys are going to really like it. But anyways, Allosaurus Shepherd is really, really cool, and I remember when we were, when Double Masters, I believe, had come out, he saw this card and was like, I need this card. And we ended up opening one, which was really cool. This card is really cool. So it's 1 mana for a 1/1. It can't be countered. And green spells you control can't be countered. So if you're playing like a mono green deck in particular, absolutely 1000% run this. And then it says, until end of turn, each elf creature you control has the base power and toughness 5/5 and becomes a dinosaur. My whole thing is, even if you're not playing elf tribal, like, he's not doing that in his Ashaya deck. He does have a handful of elves because he has like those basic ones like Elvish Mystic and things like that that are, help him, get the mana acceleration particularly early on. But even if you're not doing that, just the fact that all your green spells you control can't be countered is just a nightmare for a blue mage like me. It's a $20 card, but if you're playing in a competitive play group where you need to stop your opponents from, doing these sorts of things like countering your stuff, definitely recommend this card. It's about $20. It's a good card. Okay, let's next talk about Jeweled Lotus. Jeweled Lotus is slightly over $100, and it is so incredibly cool. This is for my people who have maybe a really expensive commander. Maybe your commander is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, and you really need a way to get them out a little bit early on. The other really cool thing too that you can do with Jeweled Lotus is you can potentially recur this if you have something, the air, that lets you do that. I really, really like Jeweled Lotus. You can only use it to cast your commanders, but I honestly don't think that matters. I think, too, the fact that you can play this and, like, get the chance to use this for commander attacks, I think is also just incredibly cool, right? Because you can, do this and then you can reduce that cost, which is really cool. So yeah, I like Jewel Lotus a lot. I think it's very expensive, but if you have a really high CMC commander and you're playing more competitive levels of EDH, you need to get your commander out ASAP, Jewel Lotus gets you there. I like it. We're talking about one of my favorites, which is Expropriate. This card is about $18 or so, and I love it. So Expropriate, I feel like best works in a shell where you are able to get additional votes somehow. My other thought process behind this is I have this in Riku where I'm able to copy it, but honestly, even if you're not doing those things, getting the chance to just do this once is really, really powerful. So it is 9 mana and it's got Council's Dilemma. So starting with you, each player votes for time or money. For each vote, take an extra turn after that one. For money, choose a permanent and then you gain control of it. So my thought process behind this card is you play it and you're going to take an extra turn. So at the very least, you're going to get 1 extra turn out of it. Now, depending on what's going on your opponent's side of the board, you get a chance to gain control of their permanents, which is probably the more likely thing going to happen. People are not really inclined to give you extra turns. I've had quite a bit of experience with this in my Riku deck in particular, but to be honest with you, sometimes some people do it because they know that the game is over if you cast Expropriate and they're just get it over with. So I love this card. Definitely worth it. Even if, like I said, you just cast it once, you don't get to do it multiple times. So good. Okay, that card, by the way, I believe it's called Illusion of Choice, where you get to choose how each opponent picks. That card's also really good. Okay, the next card is Spellseeker. Funny story about this card. We had opened, I believe, a box of Battle Bond when Battle Bond had come out. And for those who don't know, Battle Bond is one of my favorite sets of all time. And when we had gone to, believe it was Magic Fest Austin, we had done a Battle Bond 2-headed giant event, and I believe we also opened up a Spellseeker then. This card is really expensive. It's about $30 and it is so incredibly cool. If you're playing just a ton of instants and sorceries that are 2 or less, definitely recommend running Spellseeker, because you can tutor your Cyclonic Rift, for example, as one of the things that you can do. You get to reveal it, put it into your hand, and then at the end of the day, you're left with a 1/1 blocker. This card is awesome. I would definitely recommend playing this. I have Spellseeker in my Grand Arbiter deck, and I really enjoy it. Yeah, honestly, and it's funny because we had 2 lying around, and when I was building Grand Arbiter or whatever, I was like, yeah, let me throw this in there, and then I was like, this card's $30, so cool. Kind of want to put it aside, and I think, like I said, I want to use the other one too. Kind of want to set it aside and maybe throw it into Tasigur, because it's just a really great tutor, Okay, I'm going to put that to the side so that I remember that. Okay, the next card is Archivist of Oghma. This card is a dream, I feel like, because for the longest time, white has been really struggling with getting access to card draw. And this says whenever an opponent searches their library, you get to gain a life and you get to draw a card. When I saw this printed, I was just so incredibly excited because I had been looking for cards for Angels because I had noticed that I just needed more ways to get tutors, or sorry, to get card draw in that deck. And I'm so happy I got one of these. I have not drawn it yet. I either drew it once or I didn't draw it. I'm not sure. This card is, in my opinion, if you're playing in particular mono white color deck, or you're playing a deck with white where you're struggling for card draw in whatever shape or form, I would definitely recommend this card. I love too that it has flash, and people search their libraries all the time. So don't worry about will I be getting this trigger? Yeah, people are going to be doing that, absolutely. And it's only 2 mana at the end of the day. Love this card, so good. This card sits about $8 or so right now. Very good. Okay, this is an expensive one, but I want to own this card so badly. I'm really hoping that this gets a reprint at some point, and that is Fierce Guardianship. So if you control your commander, this is a free spell. Free 99. All you have to do is own your commander. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. And then you get to counter target non-creature spell for free. And to be very honest with you, even if you don't, a 3-mana counter spell for that isn't really the worst thing in the world, but This card is so good. I really, really, really want to run this card. I really wish that I had it. I really wish I owned it, but it's just very expensive. And this card's sitting at like around $66. It's definitely expensive, but it's such a good card. I think if you're particularly, if you're someone who plays like, what was I going to say, like more competitive like Commander, I definitely think that's like something you're probably going to need. Anyone who plays like more CDH or whatever can definitely let me know, but I think that's like one of those, like you kind of need it like that and like Forcible, you know? Okay, the next one is Farewell. Okay, so I have such a funny story with you about this card. So when Farewell actually came out to be as a card, I was immediately like, oh my God. And it's, first off, it's Seb McKinnon art. Love me some Seb McKinnon art. And I literally just don't own this card. I don't know why, but I really like it. It is a slightly more expensive board wipe, but honestly, I think it's really, really cool. It's 6 mana. You can choose one or more. I love the option, honestly, because there are times where you don't care about it. There aren't no enchantments and you're like, whatever, that doesn't matter. There's times where you're going to do all of it. The fact that too, I love how it has graveyard stapled onto there as well. I am not someone who, even when I play my more Death and Taxes-y cards, I'm not someone who usually goes for a ton of graveyard heat, but I like that Farewell gives you that choice. In my opinion, this is one of the best board wipes of all time. I love this card so much. I need to put it on my list and just buy one and just deal with it because this art is stunning and I just need it. Farewell for you. It's about $6. And the last card, I do not own this card and I really, really want to. This came out in one of the Commander sets, I believe. And that's partially why some of those cards that are in those sets are just so bloody expensive. It bothers me so much that they do that where they have a card that's like so incredibly expensive on there. But that is Black Market Connections. I don't know if I said the name of this. This card is so cool. So it is a 3 mana enchantment. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you choose one. You can choose a treasure token, you lose life. Who cares? You can draw a card, you lose 2 life. Whatever. Create a 3/2 shapeshifter with changeling, you lose 3 life. So what I love so much about this card is this like flexibility aspect. I love cards that allow you to do more than one thing based on the situation. Like we just talked about Farewell. That's a very situational-esque flexible card where you can do whatever you need to depending on the situation. Black Market Connections is another one. If you need mana, you can get mana. If you need a creature, you can get a creature. And if you need to draw cards, you can do that. This card is so incredibly cool. I really want to get one for zombies. It's just very, very expensive. One thing too I really love about the creature aspect too is it's a changeling. So like I said, I can put this in zombies, but let's just say you have a black red deck that's themed around goblins, for example. You can run this and then it's goblins, so it's any type, so it can be like, you know, all your things that give you +1/+1 for each, you know, zombie you control or a goblin or whatever, or each one gets +1/+1 because it's a goblin or whatever, gets that bonus, which is really, really cool. So Black Market Connections, really, really cool. Crossing my fingers for a reprint because this card is really good. So, and this card right now is sitting at around $31. So yeah, guys, that is everything for this video. I'd really like to know what cards are expensive that you personally really like and you think is worth the money. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and I'll catch you in my next one.